Hi everyone, it's Susie, Crypto Granny here. The date is the 3rd of August today, but I'm going to do my podcast I had ready yesterday, fairly late, too late actually, the 2nd of August. I've got two internets, and both of them were down yesterday, the whole day. I didn't get them back up until about 5:30, and then they went off again, which I don't know what the devil was going on. When there was a major upgrade or whatever, I had to go to the shop, and then the shop, millions of people were in the shop because they all had the same problem. So I don't know what happened, people. I'm very, very sorry about my darling patrons, for not getting my podcast up, but these things happen with technology some days. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do the podcast I had ready for yesterday. It's not as in-depth, but it's in-depth enough. And then I'll do one for today for what's happening today. And I think that's probably the best way of doing this. So let's just start with the crypto markets. Bitcoin yesterday had an open of 41448, had a high of 41516. And I mapped these because it's very important to know the highs, because you see where the market's selling Bitcoin. The low was 39063. And at the time yesterday when I was doing this, Bitcoin spot was 39,804. Now today Bitcoin spot is 38,366, so it is off slightly, okay? And we did see the weekend a lot of buying and selling. There was quite a bit of volume done the weekend, 4.7 billion on the weekend. And it did get to a high on the weekend of 42,388, okay? And at the time that I wrote these figures down, the market market cap was 1.57 bill roughly, 45% to Bitcoin dominance. There's about 4.4 billion for liquidity, and volume was about 65 million, okay? 65 billion, I should say. So just some of the big stories that are out yesterday. Silvergate, a Californian bank, is going big into crypto. It wants to become one of the major cryptocurrency banks, and it's certainly in the right place, California, which is pro-crypto. A $45 billion asset management company, Golden Trees, has started buying Bitcoin for their portfolio. The amount of Bitcoin is unknown, but they are hiring staff that knows about cryptocurrency. So they're going to go into cryptocurrency in a big way. It's another company that's coming into cryptocurrency. Also, GoldmanSachs is offering young graduates 95,000. They were offering them 95,000 to 100,000 to get them to sign up, right? And this is just a joke, seriously. The CEO came out, this is what he said, right? This guy is a part of that my generation, the 80s, where we all worked like dogs, serious dogs, fair income. He said he used to work 144 hours a week in the 80s, 7 days a week. And, they're trying to get people to start at Goldman Sachs and work the sort of lifestyle that we worked in the financial markets, in the 80s and 90s and even 2000s. And we worked like dogs, seriously. I used to work 70, 80 hours a week, and fair income, all the traders were all on drugs, were all on coke, just to keep awake. A lot of us traders, had drinking problems. Myself included, we used to drink like crazy with clients, and then clients used to want to do cocaine and go to brothels and everything else. And we did that for big clients. Seriously, it was the heyday. But at the same time, if you worked in these professional jobs, which a lot of the young kids wouldn't have a clue about, and they call us the greys, and they reckon that we know nothing. Well, I got news for you. We bloody know more than you guys do, the young bucks that have no idea, and they call us the greys. We used to work our fucking asses off, right? Whoops, expletive that word, sorry. And we had to work like dogs, fair income. Yeah, we got paid a shitload of money. But, you just gave your life away. I mean, many traders that I've known either suicided because of the 2008, horrific market collapse, and their clients lost horrendous lots of money, and so the traders themselves. One guy I knew killed himself. He lost everything because he put all his house and all his assets on the stock market bouncing after 2008. And as you know, it went down again in 2009, right? I mean, I've known traders to kill themselves and walk in front of trains because of the shocking stress that you're under working as a trader in financial markets and working for companies like Goldman Sachs, right? Even when I was a professional, in fixed income, because they're huge hires of fixed income, and bond trading and stuff like that. And being a sales trader, they approached me in Australia. And even then, in the 90s probably, when I was about 35, which is always the key, time they're looking to employ professionals and someone with, that's a female, because they're so male run. And even today, they're so misogynistic. I'd never work for them. They were trying to get me on board, and I'd heard about the reputation in Australia, and I said, no way am I working for Goldman Sachs. Well, this CEO out today, he was some immigrant who worked 144 hours a week, and he's trying to get the young people, the younger generation, this generation, under 25 or whatever, to work for them. This guy hasn't got a friggin' clue, man. One thing I will say about the young people, even though they call us a greys, they've got it right. You just don't work your friggin' life away like this. Fair income. Many of the people I work with just didn't make it in the end, They're either drug addicts or alcoholics or had gambling troubles, mental health problems. I mean, you can't work 144 hours a week, 7 days a week. I mean, one young fellow I heard, I don't know if it was Goldman Sachs, it was one big American bank. He was a young intern, right? Or not an intern, but he was working for the mergers and acquisitions company, a young German fellow. And this guy ended up dying because he had to work so long, right? They found him under the shower, the age of 27, because he'd been working in mergers and acquisitions and he hadn't been to sleep for 48 hours. I mean, this is what this crowd do. This is what crowds like this do, man. It's just disgusting. I just can't believe that this guy is saying this now, the younger generation doesn't want it as much as we did. Well, we had to, in our time because, our parents, we left home at 16, right? It's a different world. Our parents wouldn't pay for anything. We had strong curfews. At 12 o'clock we had to be home, but we ran wild. We had to pay for our own stuff. And we didn't want to live at home, and we couldn't bring anyone home, if you wanted sex, right? It's a different world, man. So we had to pay for our stuff. And yes, we were young and we needed money. But this is a different world. The kids live at home still, right? And, even though they still live at home, they don't know anything, that's fair enough. I think they got the right attitude. It's life over money, right? Life over money, and that's what it should be, not money over life, right? So this guy, the CEO of Goldman Sachs, wake up, Australia, man. This guy's completely out of touch with the younger generation. I've got a lot of young friends, right? And this guy's got no friggin' idea. Even though he's not white, whatever, a WASP, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, I think he's from Persia or the Middle East or somewhere, or Pakistan. But still, people don't want to do that stuff. They don't want to work their lives the way we did. And we gave up so much. I gave up so much working like that. And there's things I regret because I had to work so hard. I never spent enough time with my family when I was working like that. You can't get that time back. You know what I mean? Look at that guy that ended up dying, the richest guy in the world. What was his name from, was it Apple? The guy that died of cancer. I forget Steve Jobs, right? I forget where he's from now. The guy's in his 50s, he's on his deathbed, right? He's riddled with cancer or something. And you know what he says he regrets? Not spending enough time with his family. Billions and billions and billions of dollars. And the only friend he had at his deathbed was his bloody lawyer. I mean, crikey, if that's your only friend, bloody hell, man. It's about love. It's about love. It's about your family and love and your partner and and your best friends. It's not about working your friggin' life away. I tell you right now, and thank God I saw the light. I saw the light at 50, man. Just crazy. Because it actually gave me mental health problems. I end up with massive depression because of the stress. It's just horrendous. Seriously, I can tell you that. Traders take on a lot of stress. And that's why even in this market, when I'm giving you buy and sell orders, and I do it for myself, if clients don't sell out when I tell them to on the 12th of May, and one of my best clients didn't, I carried so much stress because of that, because he didn't, right? And this person would have made himself over $1 million, right? Euro. And the stress I carried because of that lack of decision from the client, I said, Christ, Sue, that's just not worth it for the subscription he's paying me. And that's the sort of stress I'm talking about, people. You don't understand the stress us traders carry. And I've seen many traders over the years over my history of trading and financial markets kill themselves, right? And it is a male-bound world, generally, not many women in it, and it is a lot of men that suicide, over and above women. That's a fact. Now, in Australia, apparently suicide is one of the highest reasons for young men to die, which is pretty sad. So if you're a young person, you do have mental health problems, please talk to your parents, talk to your friends and seek out help. That's for sure, because it's still a big, big story. So anyway, let's get on with this. So Jack Dorsey, with his Cash App, has made a fortune, right? And he's making more with his Cash App for Bitcoin, with Bitcoin revenue and cryptocurrency and anything else. His revenues are up 200%, 2.72 billion, up from 875 mil, and he made gross profit, which jumped to 17% to 55 million. This guy is an incredibly smart guy, really, really keyed on. He's the head of Square and, Twitter, right? And also, they've just taken over Afterpay Touch, an Australian company, and they're going to go into crypto in a big way because they can see the money they can make, right? Same with PayPal, right? They can make a friggin' fortune going into cryptocurrency, right? Now, Moody's downgraded, lo and behold, this is hilarious, because Moody's is, a US government, right? They don't like the fact, well, the IMF certainly does, the International Monetary Fund, which the US has the biggest stake in because they give the most money into it, for poorer countries, and El Salvador was getting some of those IMF loans, right? El Salvador, they downgraded El Salvador with a negative view, and they downgraded their country credit rating because they don't like the fact that they're using Bitcoin as a legal tender, right? And I just think this is really incredible. Moody's is US bound, and it's just political, right? Because it's tied up with the IMF. A matter of fact, I think them using Bitcoin as legal tender, they should be upgrading them, not downgrading them. You know what I mean? It's good for the country to be using Bitcoin rather than their own, crappy, currency, because their currency's worth crapola, garbology. It's worth nothing, right? So they, Moody should be upgrading, not downgrading, right? Now, CryptoPunk has risen 53% in the past week. And apparently there was a purchase of 3.7 million. Someone bought it for 3.7 million, and it was purchased by Gary Vaynerchuk or something. Vaynerchuk, no, I don't know who that is. Maybe it's an important person somewhere, but I have no idea who it is. I don't know the important people or the rich people or the sports people or the friggin' actors and all this crap. They're all ego-ridden people anyway, and they get paid way too much money as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not in the commercial media. I'm not interested. Honestly, it sells lies and bullshit, right? So, yesterday I read there's an XRP and SEC. They're talking about a settlement, right? But the thing is, XRP has always said they don't want a settlement. This is not going to happen, they said, because they believe they're right. And why shouldn't they? They should say, I don't want a settlement because we believe we're right against the SEC, which I believe they are. Now, Garlinghouse lawyers have filed a request for Binance documents for international challenge to the SEC, and rightly so. This is what they say, and they're absolutely right? We know that Binance intends to set up international physical offices everywhere in multiple jurisdictions, right? But the interesting thing is, the SEC, and this is what Ripple's lawyers have said, has no legal jurisdiction in other countries overseas, right? And that's exactly right. They only have jurisdiction in the US, the SEC, Security Exchange Commission of the US. Why are they trying to get Ripple and Binance and other companies outside the US? They have no control outside the US. It's like Australia, we have our own laws. Bugger off the SEC, US SEC. You don't have, law over us being in Australia, right? And this is what Ripple's, lawyers are saying. And that's why they've asked me documents for Binance, because they're saying, rightly so, even Binance, all the regulatory crap it's coming under from the SEC, Binance has its main office, if you want to call it, the head office where all the bloody mail goes, in Cayman Islands, right? So they shouldn't be challenging Binance or anyone or Ripple, and I agree with that, right? I don't believe the SEC has a leg to stand on, and I would find it very difficult to believe that XRP, Ripple, basically, go for a settlement, because Ripple are right. The SEC has no ruling or no legal right to be in overseas countries. And the fact that they were trying to shore up overseas regulators, it's just a conspiracy. It smells to me that they're trying to get the big boys on side, I give you a favour, you give me a favour, and that's bullshit. That's illegal, right? Now, also, as we said, Binance is going through, friggin' every regulator out there's on their back because they all follow each other, the same hymn sheet, the same choir, the same bloody religious bullshit. You can see I've got an attitude this morning, people, feeding. I had a crap day yesterday. Gabology, when my internet's not working, both of them, 2 internets, and I pay €200 a month. And you ask me why I'm trying to, charge people for my podcast. Well, babies, it costs me a lot of money to do this. My patrons pay me. The public have to also pay me. They don't want this great information. They don't get it. It's simple as that, babes. You decide. Because you're not going to hear all this podcast if you're not my patrons, right? It's just that simple. The price of everything's going up and people go, you're trying to charge for stuff. Tell me anywhere in the world you don't get charged for anything. Dicks, fair income, right? Grow up. Wake up, Australia, man. You got to pay people. If that's the way in America not to pay people, well, I can understand that because, Americans don't want to work because they don't get paid enough. The lower classes don't get paid enough, or the working class, right? And so be it. Why would they? They can get better benefits. Why wouldn't they? Some of them don't even get a wage, right? In Australia, we have a minimum wage for any worker, right? $18.73. Look it up on the wage thing. In America, apparently, you don't even get a minimum wage, right? That's terrible, right? That is a shocker, man. A shocker. Now, also what we're going to say here is, let me have a look here. So Binance could set up anywhere, and I reckon they'll set up in Singapore, Ukraine, Australia, Malta, and Japan, right? Because they're all pro-cryptocurrency. The rest of them are not pro-cryptocurrencies. Why would they want to be there? Now, Theatre hires ex-Lloyd's...
I'm really sorry, everyone, for cutting that off. My apologies. But if you'd like to support me on my Patreon, to listen to my podcast and get the whole version of it, it'll only cost you
$5 per month.
A month, US. That's all you're going to pay. It's less than about 16 cents a day, US dollars. If you're in euro or something else, it's going to be cheaper. And you'll get all the updates. I generally do it Monday to Friday, every day. So it's about 21 podcasts a month. And if something's big is happening on the weekends, I will do it on the weekends as well. So I'd really appreciate all my listeners, my public listeners, to support my work. That would be very, very lovely. It takes me about 2 to 4 hours to put these together. And it would be much appreciated if you supported my work for $5 a month. Thank you.